So tell me your name and spell it.
How was that?
So tell me your name and spell it for the
Okay,
camera.
my name is Doris, D-O-R-I-S, and I have two initials, A and M. Last name is Thomas.
For a little background, could you tell me briefly about yourself and how long have you lived or have been involved in the Hillcrest community? You could include any involvement you may have had with the Hillcrest Community Civic Association.
Okay. I've been involved with the Hillcrest at least 40 or 50 years, I'm sure. It's hard. I'm 85 years old now. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep account of what I do, because I do a lot. But some of the things that I have been involved in is, of course, my theater company, which is the Serenity Players, which is Southeast involvement community. And basically that's mostly what I am involved in, because I'm an artist. I'm into the arts, and I always try to bring that to Hillcrest, and they always are very supportive to me. Some other things that I enjoy is many activities that the Hillcrest offers, and it's been so many of them. It's with the library over here, Francis Berkeley Library, which is just close to me, and I'm always trying to support them. And many other things that I try to support as much as I can, and I get that information from the Hillcrest Association, that they offer a wide amount of information to us so that we know and we are kept abreast of what's happening, not only in Hillcrest but in the city. So I get that much from the Hillcrest Association.
As you may know, this oral history project is a continuation of the 20th anniversary celebration of the HCCA. In thinking about your neighborhood, Hillcrest, will you define it as a strong DC neighborhood? Tell me why, and also explain what is your definition of a strong DC neighborhood.
Oh, with a strong neighborhood, I feel like that people should pull together, work together on various issues. And I see that Hillcrest does that. These issues are brought in before us at various meetings, and people in this area have a way of pulling together to work problems out. And I just feel that they're a very close-knit community because of their involvement in many different aspects. What was the other question?
What is your definition of a strong DC neighborhood? How do you define that?
As I said, to stick together, bring forth matters that matter, things that are important to the neighborhood, I think is my definition, and also working together to solve the problems. That is my definition, to just work together and find out all that we can about our neighborhood. And so that if we can do anything about it, at least we know about it anyway. But then it's always good to help out as much as we can.
Okay. And what is your opinion of the Hillcrest Community Civic Association and its role in creating a strong DC neighborhood? Mm-hmm. How do you think it has engaged the residents of this community to encourage active involvement and participation? And to what extent do you think HCCA has sufficiently engaged the residents in other parts of the city? I want you to think internal and external interactions and think long-term in the past 20 years, from how long you've been a member of the association.
I think the Hillcrest is a model because I have talked to other people in other areas of the city, and I see that we get a lot more information. There is a certain amount of friendship involved with the Hillcrest, that people do try to get involved and try to work out problems, which is very important. And people need to be able to work together. And for my part, I have found out that the Hillcrest Association, the people involved, do have a way of being able to work out things, problems, and also not only problems, but good things. They do a lot of interesting things, and I like that about it.
How effectively has the HCCA worked with the Hillcrest community, and by extension the rest of Ward 7, to garner goodwill, promote neighborliness, and maintain a wholesome community? And how effective has the various forms of communication and the outreach components been effective? Or is there room for improvement?
The
HCCA. How effectively has it worked with the community? The Civic Association. How effectively have you seen it working hand in hand with the community and also Ward 7, the rest of Ward 7, to garner goodwill and promote neighborliness and maintain the wholesome community in which we live?
Yeah, that's a good question. I believe that they work together. Now, maybe it's because I don't know. ACD is, this is a dumb question, but and my mind is not too clear about it. The ACD is the police. What is that?
Oh no, the HCCA, the Hillcrest Community Civic Association. I just shortened it, the HCCA.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry, my accent.
You have to spell out to me.
Sure. HCCA. The Hillcrest Community Civic Association. That I'm just trying to find out, how do you think that they work together? I mean, whether or not you think they work together hand in hand to promote neighborliness, and how effective they are to maintain a wholesome community.
I think they do. Of course, in any any association, it's a struggle to get every single person involved. However, I think on a whole, Hillcrest does hold that certain bond to bring people together through their various activities. It's hard in any association to bring everybody together. I mean, even with churches and everything else. But I think that they make an honest effort.
To what degree do you see HCCA, the Civic Association, and the neighborhood, Hillcrest neighborhood, as extensions of each other? In other words, how effective would one have been without the other in creating a strong DC neighborhood? And do you view them, Hillcrest and the Civic Association, as separate entities or one and the same? And when one does well, does it bring along the other? Or does success occur separately and individually? And now, why do you see it this way?
The Civic Association and the Hillcrest?
Community, yes.
Okay. I guess maybe I don't know that much about Civic Association.
Okay.
I do know about Hillcrest.
Okay.
And that part would have to go unanswered because I have no way of comparing.
Okay.
Civic Association, I don't know whether I've been that. My mind is not quite clear on that yet.
Okay.
Whether I've been involved with it.
Okay.
But I'm always there at Hillcrest.
Okay. at the meetings?
Yeah.
Involved every month at the meetings.
Yeah.
I know I've seen you at the
I try
meetings
to
all
be
the
there.
time.
I try to be there at every meeting.
Okay. And sometimes I've seen where you've been able to tell the residents at the meeting about a Serenity Players event. Do you find it effective in getting people out to come to the art, to visit a Serenity Player play? When
Well,
you announce it?
somewhat. It's not like I would hope it to be, but that's the way it is. People have so many other things to do that I don't expect everybody. But I do have some followers, no more than, a place where everybody, because we know so many people all over the city. I think my biggest, our biggest fan is seniors, and they are usually from everywhere else. But we do have some followers from Serenity Players from Hillcrest who are, are real good fans of ours. I think it could be better. I have to be honest about that. I think it could be better, but then such is life.
The Hillcrest neighborhood has been known for its civic-mindedness, neighborliness, caring, and respect of the beauty of the environment. Is this something you agree with? And if so, why? And are there any other adjectives you'll use to describe Hillcrest or HCCA?
I think Hillcrest is a beautiful area. I had a house on Denver Street. My husband and I, before he died, we lived right on for 25 years. And of course, before he died, we ended up buying this condo. And I ride through, and my children come and pick me up, and we ride through all over Hillcrest. It's a beautiful area, and that's what makes me so upset when they show it on television, that they show all the places where they got these bad-looking houses, and they're talking about Southeast. And I'm saying to myself, they really need to come to Southeast, where the beautiful homes, I think it's some lovely homes, and the people, and they're well kept. And I don't think there's any neighborhood any prettier than Hillcrest.
Now, since the first time you moved into this community, do you see a continuation of that civic-mindedness and neighborliness, or has it changed over time? I know you said you lived in Denver before, on Denver Street Southeast, and then you moved over here. Is it better or worse? Do you have an opinion on the Civic Association helping with the continuation?
Moving from Denver Street here, I see it still seems a little bit separation. And I don't know if it's because we don't have a whole lot of people that's involved. When I come to the meeting, I don't see a whole lot of people from this area, so it always makes me feel like it's a split. Like we're one part of Southeast and this is another part. But I know where I belong, right here in the whole place is one. I don't believe in that. I don't know what is the reason. Whether it's the people, whether they haven't circulated it enough here in Fairfax. I certainly talk to people about it, but I'm only one person. But somehow or another, it does. Once in a while, I think the meeting before last, I came to a meeting, and there were some people who belonged to South that lived in Southeast, and they were talking about the crime. And I thought that was good because we need that support too. We really do in Southeast. I don't feel like, well, actually with myself, I bought this condo because I'm getting older, and I could not handle the house by myself with my husband after he got sick and died. However, sometimes when I do come to the meeting, I do feel a little bit like it's still a dividedness between Fairfax Village and everybody down below, I mean, in the other areas. And sometimes I wish I said, if I was in my house, I know I wouldn't feel that way. But I will always still coming to Hillcrest, and I will always feel that and know that I'm a Southeast person. But I think that more attention should be put also to Fairfax Village, and that would help. And maybe, I don't know what would help to bring more people in this area to the meeting. I don't know. But I think it's important for people to know that. And I really do.
Now, based on the length of time you've lived at Hillcrest and in this community, based on your observations and interactions, what do you see as the 3 core elements that make for a strong neighborhood in the District of Columbia? And feel free to include examples, for example, the respect that people may have for one another, keeping their yards clean, or just being able to say hello to one another and feeling welcome. But what do you see as the 3 core elements that make Hillcrest a strong DC neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. I believe the strongest of Hillcrest is their commitment to help to make Hillcrest a better community. And I find out that most of the people who really, really work into it, have that commitment, and they do work very hard about it. I think that we need more people to help, and there should be some way of drawing more people into it, giving them when I know they ask, but I notice that there's always the same people. And I think that sometimes people need to be asked. Sometimes you feel like, well, I'm not sure whether I'm wanted. I'm not sure whether I can do the job. A training program is good that would help those of us who might want to do something but don't know how to go about it, or don't know what to do. So when you've got the same people all the time, that could make a difference. But then, of course, I appreciate those same people. Now, don't get me wrong, because I think they're doing a dynamic job. But I think that a little more help, and some of the people who have not done things to some way draw them in to help out in making our community even better. I think it's a great community, but any neighborhood needs help, and it needs new people, new ideas. And if those persons aren't asked, or if there's no kind of training process, people a lot of times are just not going to volunteer. They unless you say, well, look, we have a training session, we have something that we can show you. I'm sure that I probably would do something too, but I don't know what to do. So that's where I see, and I feel that way with any organization. A lot of times you want to, but you're not sure, because somebody else is always there, and they're always taking over. And that's my thought of it. It might sound a little negative, but but it's the truth.
Is there anything else you can think of that highlights Hillcrest as a strong DC neighborhood? Is there anything else?
As I said, I like it. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But I think that any association always needs improvement. Not only this association, but any other. And I feel that I'm always willing to do whatever I can. You know, maybe a lot of people don't ask me because they feel like that I'm always involved in Serenity Players, and I am, but I'm always willing to do something for my community. So, you know, it's 6 in one hand and half a dozen another. We've got some people who just sit around and don't do anything and just criticize. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, if I can help, I will do it. And if there's any possibilities of my being involved, I will do that. And I do see a lot of strength. It's growing it really is growing, and I think that it can continue growing. Any organization has room to grow. We do what we can. You do what is possible, and it's just to me, I think it's a great association. But as I said, it's like any other group. Or you can always improve, and maybe having some of the younger people to be involved. Ask them. You know, that, as I said, there's a lot of people, a lot of young people that's coming in the area now. And if they're not asked, they're not going to do anything. And when especially if they see the same people doing